Dumbledore and all his secrets are on full display for the world to see, and Merlin's beard where there's so many things to miss. Easter eggs, references to the greater wizarding world were plentiful in this third installment of the Fantastic Beasts franchise. Being a prequel to one of the most successful franchises of all time, it's impossible not to jam-pack this film with noteworthy nuggets of knowledge that Hermione would be proud to learn. How fantastic were these beasts? Well, let's take a look right now. Perhaps the most popular sport in the wizarding world has yet to make a full-fledged appearance in the prequel Fantastic Beasts trilogy. However, The Secrets of Dumbledore finally gave us a hint to the famous sport. In Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone, during his first flying lesson, Harry shows off natural talent that lands him a spot as the new seeker of the Gryffindor Quidditch team. Professor McGonagall introduces him to Captain Oliver Wood. Wood then takes Harry to the Quidditch pitch to teach him the ins and outs of the game. He brings with him a case containing all the special items used to play Quidditch. It includes the quaffle, some bludgers, and of course the golden snitch. Harry plays a game of Quidditch in almost every installment in the Harry Potter film series, and yet it had not made an appearance in the first two Fantastic Beasts films. In the third, however, we get a reference to this special case that helped teach Harry the game that he loves. When the group is being chased by Grindelwald's men and carrying decoy cases, several references and Easter eggs were made that you may have missed. The first was that one of these cases was essentially the same case that Oliver Wood used. The golden snitch emerged from it, as well as two bludgers that really did some damage to Grindelwald's men. Oliver Wood was right, they really are nasty little buggers. Everyone's favorite Hogwarts professor made yet another cameo in The Secrets of Dumbledore, returning from their appearance in The Crimes of Grindelwald. Ignore how head-scratching it is based on how old this character should be, but Minerva McGonagall did reappear as a trusted ally of Albus Dumbledore. Not only was she quick to warn him of events happening around the world, but she was also there to cover Dumbledore's classes for him when he inevitably would have to go and save the world. Minerva McGonagall is one of the greatest characters that Harry Potter came across, and it's very cool to see her operating during the era of Grindelwald, regardless of how little sense it makes. I've still got my fingers crossed for some kind of Time Turner explanation, but for right now I just hope she plays a bigger role in the sequels to come. One of the most famous rooms in all of Hogwarts made its reappearance in The Secrets of Dumbledore. The Room of Requirement was the base of operations for Dumbledore's army in the Order of the Phoenix. It was where Harry and Ginny had their first kiss, and it housed Rowena Ravenclaw's lost diadem, a Horcrux of Voldemort before it was subsequently burned to the ground. The room is supposed to come equipped with the needs of those who enter it. This is why it can serve as storage, or class space, or in Ron's case, if you really needed the toilet. The Room of Requirement made an important appearance in The Secrets of Dumbledore, as the last place that the team convened before going to stop Grindelwald. This time the room came equipped with nothing except a large spinning port key that would take all members of the team to the same place in slightly different locations. Apparently, none of them had to go to the bathroom before they left. As I said, those decoy cases contained several other references to the wider wizarding world. One of them contained a very familiar pile of textbooks to hardcore Harry Potter fans. You may have noticed several of Grindelwald's wizards being chased by several copies of the Monster Book of Monsters. This was the textbook that Harry opened in his hotel room in Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban, and it nearly ate his face off. Hagrid taught his students how to soothe the book into actually reading it, but clearly some of the dark witches and wizards chasing Lolly and Theseus never got that lesson. Another case, the one held by Jacob, was very fitting to the carrier. Jacob's case contained several pastries, very similar to the case that he and Newt exchanged in the first Fantastic Beasts film, bringing him into this adventure in the first place. Another interesting thing to notice about Jacob's case was what appeared to be some variation on the Gemino Curse. The Gemino Curse was seen in Bellatrix Lestrange's vault in Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 2. It caused any object that was touched to multiply, and nearly drowned Harry and friends in gold and silver. Now, with Jacob's pastries, they did multiply on their own, but overall had the same effect of drowning the men chasing Jacob neck deep in jelly filling. I can think of worse ways to go. Based on the films, there was little that had been known about the Dumbledore's youngest sister, Ariana. Hermione revealed to us that she had died when she was very young, and Aberforth believed Albus had sacrificed her on his quest for power. The Secrets of Dumbledore gave us a much better look as to what actually happened with Ariana Dumbledore.
That's your sister Ariana, isn't it? She died very young, didn't she?
Albus had wanted to go away with Grindelwald one summer, and this enraged Aberforth. To be entirely fair, Aberforth was clearly a good judge of character. Wands were drawn and spells were fired, and the young Ariana, who was also an Obscurial, came down the stairs. It's unknown whose spell flew wild and hit her, but as Albus explains, it doesn't matter, since he takes responsibility for the whole thing. This really saddens the legacy of the Dumbledores, and helps us understand the animosity between Albus and Aberforth. A painting of Ariana can be seen in Aberforth's house multiple times throughout the film. This is the same painting that contained the newly created secret passage that allowed Neville to lead Harry, Ron, and Hermione back into the castle for the final battle of Hogwarts. Ariana has basically been the driving factor behind everything the Dumbledore brothers have done. The Phoenix is a very rare and powerful bird in the wizarding world. We all know Fawkes, the miracle bird who in one film died, was reborn, blinded a basilisk, and healed Harry Potter. Fawkes the Phoenix belonged to the great Albus Dumbledore, as phoenixes were known as the symbol of the Dumbledore family, coming to any member of the family in need. This is why everyone was shocked to learn that Credence was a Dumbledore, when the bird he had been carrying was revealed to be a phoenix. Now, phoenixes, as I said, are very special birds. When it is time for them to die, they burst into flames and are reborn from the ashes. Throughout the Secrets of Dumbledore, Credence's phoenix was shedding his feathers as they began to burn, telling us that Credence's phoenix was ready to die and be reborn. This is an incredibly accurate parallel to Credence himself. Credence was dying from his time as an Obscurial. It was looking worse and worse by the minute as the film went on. However, by the end, Credence decided to turn against Grindelwald, the man he had pledged his allegiance to one film prior. This was a metaphorical death of Credence Barebone, and rebirth of Aurelius Dumbledore. They say dogs are man's best friend, but phoenixes really know what's up. James Newton Howard has now become only the second person to compose 3 films within the wizarding world, behind the great John Williams, who composed the iconic scores for the original 3 films. While James Newton Howard has come up with his own themes to define the Fantastic Beasts era, he has on multiple occasions borrowed from the great theme of John Williams. In The Secrets of Dumbledore, when we arrive back at Hogwarts for the first time, we hear the original theme composed by John Williams, heard way back in The Sorcerer's Stone. It was a spine-chilling moment for hardcore Wizarding World fans. It truly is the music that helps bring us back to the moments we remember from the films that we love. James Newton Howard's score is definitely a great blend of new and old. The Secrets of Dumbledore introduced us to a new character whose background should sound slightly familiar. We were first introduced to the idea that Hogwarts wasn't the only wizarding school in the world, when Durmstrang and Beauxbatons came to visit for the Triwizard Tournament. Then, in the first Fantastic Beasts film, we heard of yet another. The alma mater of Tina and Queenie, Ilvermorny, is the best wizarding school in America. In The Secrets of Dumbledore, we meet Professor Lally Hicks, a close friend of Albus and correspondent with Newt. Lally is actually a professor at Ilvermorny, which is hopefully leading to an actual look at the famed Academy of Wizardry, and not just the few references we have been getting thus far. The Secrets of Dumbledore allowed us to explore some fantastic new locations within the wizarding world, but it also reintroduced us to some very familiar ones. Obviously, there's Hogwarts Castle, the Great Hall, and so on. But one that you may have missed was a very famous Harry Potter village. That is the village of Hogsmeade. Hogsmeade is home to Zonko's Joke Shop, Honeydukes, the Three Broomsticks, and the Hogshead Inn, owned and operated by one Aberforth Dumbledore. This iconic town was the scene for many important moments in Harry's life. It's clearly very important to the Dumbledore family, and it would make sense that Albus would make sure it was part of any important missions in the past or the future. It really serves as a great base of operations, especially since Hogwarts is full of kids. I personally would just like to know how Newt, Jacob, and all of them got their permission slip signed. How did Dumbledore pull that one off? In The Secrets of Dumbledore, we saw the return and got a little bit more backstory of Albus's brother Aberforth. The only other time we truly met him, besides a brief cameo in The Order of the Phoenix, was in the Deathly Hallows Part 2 when Aberforth gave refuge to Harry, Ron, and Hermione. However, before this moment he had, unbeknownst to Harry, been helping him along the entire way. You see, I'm now convinced that Aberforth has a thing for mirrors. Aberforth received a special 2-way mirror from Mundungus Fletcher. Harry found a shard of this mirror, meaning that Aberforth was able to keep an eye on him throughout his quest to destroy Voldemort. There were even times that Harry thought it was Albus watching him from beyond the grave. It turns out Aberforth's love of mirrors and communicating through them started back in The Secrets of Dumbledore. Throughout the film, we see someone writing messages to Aberforth on his mirror, asking to come home. We also see similar messages appear on Credence's mirror. Eventually, we learned that this is how the two were communicating, father and son just wanting to be reunited. And clearly it had some sentimental value given Aberforth's proclivity for mirror communication in the future. If there's one unique weapon in a wizard's arsenal, it's probably the memory charm. Gilderoy Lockhart was so great with memory charms that he even accidentally used it on himself. However, great wizards have the ability to selectively affect memory. The first time we saw this performed was by an extraordinary witch in Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 1. Before Hermione geared up to go join Harry, In what she knew would be an extremely dangerous adventure, she had to protect the loved ones in her life who cannot protect themselves. Before she left her home, she used this selective memory charm to remove all memories of herself from the minds of her parents, both muggles who she wanted to keep out of danger. It's quite a sad and somber moment that really sets the tone for the devastation they will have to endure. We saw another powerful wizard with arguably less well-meaning intentions use the selective memory charm in The Secrets of Dumbledore. When Yusuf Kama arrived at Grindelwald's base of operations, Queenie said that Yusuf genuinely wanted to join the cause, but had some reservations due to the death of his sister Lita at the hands of Grindelwald. Grindelwald then used the selective memory charm to remove all memory of Lita Lestrange from Yusuf's head. In the Great Hall in The Secrets of Dumbledore, Newt answered a question correctly, to which Albus Dumbledore responded with 3 points to Hufflepuff.
Correct. 3 points to Hufflepuff.
Now you may not have missed this one, but it's still fun to point out. The House Cup was something that was only ever mentioned in Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone. Personally, I think it's because all the Slytherin parents complained when Dumbledore straight up robbed them of a House Cup win. However, given that the Fantastic Beasts series takes place before the Harry Potter series, the House Cup was still a thing, meaning Dumbledore was likely giving out points like this all day to students for answering questions correctly. The big question is, did Hufflepuff actually get those 3 points from Newt? Is that fair? What if Hufflepuff wins by like 2 points or something? How many angry parent letters do you think they'll get at that point when a Hogwarts alumni can still earn points for their house? It makes no sense, and I'm glad they ditched it, but it was still a nice little callback to the fun Hogwarts tradition. The Bowtruckle is maybe the most underestimated beast in the entire wizarding world. This is clearly evident by how many times Pickett has gotten Newt out of a jam. Back in the first film, Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them, we met a MACUSA informant named Narlac. Narlac worked out of an underground speakeasy in New York City, and had his ear closest to the ground as far as magical creatures go. When Newt needed help finding some of his escaped beasts, Tina brought him to the Blind Pig to see Narlac. Now Narlac, being the shady type, demanded some kind of payment in return for his information. Narlac, unlike most, knew the value of Bowtruckles and demanded that Newt hand over Pickett for one specific reason. They can pick locks. We then finally saw this ability that was hinted at, demonstrated in The Secrets of Dumbledore. Pickett picked the lock of his cage in the Erkstag in order to help Newt and Theseus escape. Unfortunately for the guard, he hadn't done his research on the unique breed of creature that Newt carries around in his pocket. If there's one thing the wizarding world has proven time and time again, it's that whether you like him or not, Dumbledore's got style. That style is something that I've noticed that he uses over and over again. If there's another thing that The Secrets of Dumbledore showed us, it's that Dumbledore employs the same type of tactic when taking on dark wizards. He surrounds himself with close allies, tells one of them the whole plan, and keeps the others just in the dark enough for them to be surprised at the endgame along with the audience. When facing Voldemort, Severus Snape was the only one who knew all of Dumbledore's intentions, and had to keep them hidden from the likes of Harry, Ron, and all the rest. In this mission, he chose Bunty, Newt's assistant of all people, to be the one who knew the whole plan, and was required to keep the information from everyone else. It's definitely a strategic style consistent with what we've seen Dumbledore do in the past, present, and future, and I wouldn't be surprised to see it again. The climax of The Secrets of Dumbledore saw the destruction of the Blood Pact that forbade Dumbledore and Grindelwald from fighting each other. However, before this occurred, we actually got to learn a little bit more about what the Blood Pact actually was, and the answer was surprisingly familiar. We saw that it's not impossible for the two to fight each other, but as soon as their mind even wanders to thinking that, the Blood Pact tries to escape and the chain that is left behind begins strangling the life out of the wizard wearing it. This is why the two cannot attack each other, because merely thinking about it will kill them. However, the movement and where the Blood Pact works struck me as very similar to something.
What a mess.
In Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince, we are introduced to the concept of an unbreakable vow. Severus Snape and Narcissa Malfoy make an unbreakable vow, with Snape promising that he will help Draco with his task. It is later explained to us that an unbreakable vow cannot be broken, lest the person making it should perish. Yusuf Kama was also said to have made an unbreakable vow. The scars left by the binding magic wrap around the arm in a very similar way that the chain of the Blood Pact did to Albus Dumbledore. Considering the two forms of magic basically do the same thing, I have to believe they work in similar ways. Essentially, Dumbledore and Grindelwald made an unbreakable vow with each other long ago, only in the form of this Blood Pact, and not in the way we're used to seeing it. The Secrets of Dumbledore is giving a little hope to everyone that this franchise could have a strong finish. Along with a much better story and interesting characters, there were definitely plenty of Easter eggs and references to whet the appetite, and we can't wait for more.